Dear learner, welcome to our continuing lessons in human resource management on the platform of Manifested Publishers e-platform. Today we are going to look at the subtopic of human resource administration. So the subject is human resource management, and the topic that we are going to look at today in human resource management is human resource administration. And this topic of human resource administration has several subtopics. We are going to get an opportunity to look at employee contracts, which are very crucial in human resource management. We are also going to look at human resource records management. We will also look at human resource management information systems, employee welfare services. Then we'll also look at health, safety, policies, and procedures. Then we will also look at basics of payroll management. And ultimately, we will be able to have a look at employee discipline. So our topic today is employee contracts. Employee contracts. So Anna, welcome to the lesson. So what we interpret as students and those interested in human resource management is that employee contracts, like in AI engagement, are very critical and central in terms of the agreement between employer and employee. And when it comes to employee contracts, these ones are agreements that may enter into only or in written between an employer and an employee in relation to terms of service. So employee contracts refer to agreements that are entered into between an employer and an employee regarding service of employment. Employee contracts may be oral or in writing. So it's important to appreciate that employee contracts refer to agreements that are between an employer and an employee regarding a service of employment, and the employee contract may be oral or may be in writing. Now, the burden of ensuring that the employee contract is in writing, according to the law, is placed on the employer. So, as a human resource practitioner, you will be expected to ensure that regardless of whether you are an employer or representing an employer, employee contracts are entered into. So, what are some of the basic information in contract of employment? Basic information in contracts of employment. Basic information in contracts of employment. So it's important that a contract of employment captures some basic information, and this basic information is what can be used to enforce a contract of employment in cases of a dispute between Dear learner, welcome to our continuing lessons in human resource management on the platform of Manifested Publishers e-platform. Today we are going to look at the subtopic of human resource administration. So the subject is human resource management, and the topic that we are going to look at today in human resource management is human resource administration. And this topic of human resource administration has several subtopics. We are going to get an opportunity to look at employee contracts, which are very crucial in human resource management. We are also going to look at human resource records management. We will also look at human resource management information systems, employee welfare services. Then we'll also look at health, safety, policies, procedures. Then we will also look at the basics of payroll management, and ultimately we will be able to have a look at employees. So our subtopic today is employee contracts. Employee contracts. So Anna, welcome to the lesson. So what we need to appreciate as students and those interested in human management is that employee contracts, like in any are very essential in terms of the agreement between the employer and the employee. And when it comes to employee contracts, these ones are agreements that may be entered into orally or in written between an employer and an employee in relation to terms of service. So employee contracts refer to agreements that are entered into between an employer and an employee regarding a service service of employment. Employee contracts may be oral or in writing. So it is important to appreciate that employee contracts refer to agreements that are entered into between an employer and an employee regarding a service of employment, and employee contracts may be oral or may be written. Now, the burden of ensuring that the employee contract is in writing according to the law is placed on the employer. So, as a resource practitioner, you will be expected to ensure that regardless of whether you are an employee or an employer or representing an employer, employee contracts are entered into. So what are some of the basic information in contract of employment? Basic information in contracts of employment. Basic information in contracts of employment. So it's important that a contract of employment captures some basic information, and this basic information is what can be used to enforce a contract of employment in cases of a dispute between an employer and an employee. The first thing that should be there: names of employer and employee. Names of the employer and employee. This is very important, so this identifies that this is between employee A and organization B. That is very important, that must be captured. There is the element of the job title. So if, for example, the employee is being employed as an office administrator or as a company secretary, that one should be indicated. That is the name of the employee, and the job title for which this employee is being employed is, for example, company secretary, is, for example, human resource manager, for that matter. Then duties and responsibilities. You may have location of work. You also have duties and responsibilities. That are given. Then you may have terms and conditions of employment. They may also have number 6, the date when the contract is signed. The date the contract is signed. 7, the commencement date. Date of the contract. You may also have an indication of the law that may prevail or be used in case of a dispute. Like, for example, if it's in Kenyan situation, then Article 2011 dispute. Then 9, the working hours. Of the employee. Then you have number 10, the privileges and benefits. Then you have leave entitlements. Then you have number 12, termination requirements. For example, notice, pay in lieu of notice. And then number 13, union representation. representation. Now, here, learner, when it comes to the basic information, this will vary from position to position, but these are some of the aspects that need to be covered. And we talk about the name of the employer, the employee, we discussed that, the title, we have said, for example, the employee could be a company secretary, or human resource manager. So that has to be indicated. Then the location of work, maybe this particular person, maybe the person is based in Nakuru or Nairobi. So that has to be indicated. And duties and responsibilities that this particular individual may be doing. Then here, there will be specifics. For example, if it's the company secretary in charge of the company secretarial duties in that particular organization, if it's a human resource manager, then it could be, for example, recruitment, training, reward management. Then when it comes to terms and conditions, now the terms and conditions will indicate, for example, is this particular individual entitled to, let's say, a car, or maybe a house, or reimbursement, or to authorize certain things and so on. Then the date when the contract is signed, that is very critical. Commencement date of the contract. The load may be used, and we have said here, for example, in Kenya, for example, Employment Act 2007 could be the law, the main law that may be used if this particular contract is in the Kenya situation. Then you have working hours. Maybe the employee is supposed to have maybe 40 week work, or maybe supposed to have 8 hours per day for 5 days. And this would be that is from Monday to Friday. So the data becomes clear that these are working hours of this particular employee and so on. Then you have privileges and benefits. For example, if the employee has to travel, maybe air travel, you may say the employee is entitled to maybe business class or economy class, for example. So that has to be indicated for purposes of the administration of this particular contract. Then you have leave entitlements. So this particular person could, for example, have 30 days annual leave, for example, a year. And then you have maybe 1 month notice, 2 weeks notice, pay in leave notice, the person has to leave, union representation. And in union representation, this is where applicable. Some of the employees may not be united. So these are some of the basic aspects that should be captured in a contract of employment. There are also other aspects that are critical. For example, an employee maybe in terms of maternity leave, or paternity leave, that is also important. Then you also have what called public holidays. That is also important to be indicated. Then you also have allowances that may specific to this particular job. So on. And you also have confidentiality clauses. For example, in some organizations, an employee may be not at the employee will not be able to participate in the kind of business the employee is doing until say after 2 years. So that becomes a confidentiality clause that the employee is supposed to participate in and so on. So these are some we know to the we have indicated that employee contracts refer to the agreements that are entered into between an employer and an employee regarding a service of employment, and these employment contracts can be or can be in writing. Now, what are some of the basic aspects that should be covered in an contract of employment? So, we have indicated names of employer and employee is important. Then the job title, for example, company secretary or human resource manager. Then the location of work where the employee will be performing their work, for example, so on specified. The duties and responsibilities should be specified. Specifics should be provided. Then terms and conditions of employment, how that employee is operating, must also provide. Then when the contract is signed, that's important. Then commencement date of contract. Then the law may be abused or may prevail in cases of dispute. And we have said in Kenya, the employment contract is governed mainly under the Employment Act 2007. Then the working hours of employee, for example, 40 hours a week or 8 hours a day for 5 days, from Monday to Friday, that should be indicated. Then privileges and benefits, for example, air travel, where employee of the business class or economic class, entitlements, the contract must be very clear that this particular employee is entitled to 3 days, maybe in a calendar year. Then the element of termination requirements, for example, notice, pay in lieu of notice, that should also be provided. Union representation, where applicable, should be indicated. Maternity leave, if the employee is entitled, for example, to 90 days, maternity leave, and maybe 50 days, maybe paternity leave, that should also be indicated. The public holidays should be indicated. And if one calendar year, this particular employee is able to enjoy public holidays and classes due the confidentiality classes. What we saying, these are just some of the aspects. Others, for example, how will sickness be handled? And this one brings us to what is called sick leave. Sick leave is important. That is indicated if an employee falls sick, maybe the first day it is, employee will be on leave, maybe the status, he will be on sick leave, maybe the fee. So that should have to appear in the contract of employment, so confidentiality clauses, sickness, terms of leave, also aspects like grievance, handling procedure, and other aspects like intellectual property. So when it comes to aspects of intellectual property, someone may come up with inventions. So if an MP comes up with an invention, how will that be handled? Very important. Grievance should be documented. So Lana, these are some of the aspects that should be brought out again. And fail to bring up these aspects in the employment contract sometimes get a lot of challenges. So we have come to the end of length, and before we finish, I need to give you an assignment. You need to work on assignment. And the assignment is assess the basic information that should be contained in a contract of employment. So the learn this assignment to this assess the information that should be contained in a contract of employment. So until we meet for the next lesson, I want to thank you for being active in our lesson today, which was employee contracts, which is a subtopic in our human resource management administration unit under the human resource management subject of certified secretaries. So thank you much. Welcome learner to our lesson today. We are continuing with our human resource management subject and the manufacturing platform. And today we are looking at the human resource administration topic and the human resource management subject. And we are dealing today with the human resource management, which is a very critical topic and lesson, because it's going to give you the exposure into the kinds of records that are managed in an organization, the bias in human resource management. And when it comes to human resource records management, human resource management process involves the creation, the use, the storage, and retrieval. So four very crucial things: creation, use, storage, retrieval of records that relate to human resource activities in an organization. So that here's human resource activities as which is place of this course. Now these records are crucial in decision making, crucial in decision making, legal compliance, and efficient running of an organization. Human resource records can be maintained in two forms. You have the manual and electronic forms. So dear learner, looking at this human resource record management, and it comes very clear that whenever documents are created, for example, employee file is open, now that employee file will be used, maybe a number, to deploy that employee, and whatever communication cost in relation to the employee is put in the form. What decision is not being made, that particular record is supposed to be stored, and then it is to be able to at least assist in decision making as far as resource management activities and organization are concerned. And if decisions have to be made with workers, then it is also important that the organization maintains an efficient system of human resource records. So to be realized that the objective of this particular unit, we go to start with the type of human resource records. Types of human resource records. Types of human resource records. So what types of human resource records that may be in an organization? Records. And when you call records, records have name of an employee, name of employee. You may have identification details. You may have details, copies of certificates, issues with nationality, among others. So when it comes to personal records, then some personal records may have may relate to these aspects. Then secondly, you may have your holding employment records, employment records. Now, these employment records may involve or may include letters of appointment, letters of deployment, among others. So what you're saying, when it comes to the employment records, when was this particular employee, for example, commenced a job, where have they been employed, which duties have they, for example, undertaken? So employment records will have this particular kind of information. Then you also have wage and salary records. Wage and salary records. Some organizations have to call pay change advice. Pay change advice, or they purely call PCA. So this PCA is the one to provide the wage and salary records of this particular employee at which level, for example, entry point, and promotion. These wages and records will indicate this is the end point of this particular employee. After 1 year, the employee will move up to this particular position. The employee will progress maybe for the next 2 to 3 years, then move on upgrade. So wage and salary records are important for proper decision making as far as the employee's salary and benefits are concerned. Then you also have what you call training records. Training records. Now, these training records they may capture training, whether on the job or off the job that the employee has done. For example, an employee has gone for a 2-week training, 3-week training, has been able to go through particular maybe institutions within the organization or outside and so on. So that again becomes critical. And you also have what you call leave records. So this may pertain to, for example, your leave. So as indicated, this is able to say in a calendar year. So then we have this records that are maintained manually may indicate that this particular employee has enjoyed days, has enjoyed the balance is 20 days. And as we said, the set of human records is to advise in this thing. So once we require me another day, then the leave record is reached. You look at the leave record, and what you look at this record, it is possible to see you and the employee can be told to those days to the supervisor to be able to see on the remaining days. Then you may also have what you call occupation asyncs. Right? So the and health. It is important that the resource department or the organization actually to workplace assets. What you call needs. If mishaps, now the law is supposed to be so we also have what called occupational accident records, which indicate that these are the accidents that taken place within a nation or within a given time. You also have all promotion records. This kind of records will indicate the promotion of his program of employees. So this will indicate this particular employee during the year 2000, the year 2006, had moved to a position, by 2008, had moved to a different position, or it may also get a different employees have never been promoted for the last SPs. So that again can help in this thinking. Then number 8, you also have what you call statutory compliance records. Now, statutory compliance, for example, we come to payroll. It is required that the organization maintain a copy of the payroll in addition to so with the policy to have statutory records on payroll. You may also have on taxation and other returns. Taxation and statutory taxes records may be captured be taught as well of the required in any organization. And it is so important to that when it comes to attendance is a key records. Attendance records. Now it comes to for example, employees in number of at some things done, you may have a manual register managers where the of keys is by cleans and hence the issue of attendance that capture the data of employees to these so this also may also have a benefit in its records. What you notice organizations, for example, provide housing or transport employees. So the organization has, for example, 200 houses. We have house employees, they have a record case for the housing, following 200 houses, having a market of employees, employees staying in those particular houses, are record now and manage positions when it comes to reallocation and use for purposes of some of the types maintained adding human resources may be maintained manually or what is the purpose? We have the types of course, but is what is the purpose of human resource records? So there is different reasons why in records you have personal codes. So these records about now you mean by this what you mean is you have been an employee in an organization. This employee has given you names, dedicated data on. So see, for the other employees there, contact of this. You also have points. You make a fair decision. So if proper record, you can see if you're seeing seniority. You go to check and say if you are senior, then I'm saying if you have several in a section and one piece of care, other piece, then possible user and the community say no one has been there for less time. If that person is capable, could be wanted. So from the that we want to and then we relation. Notice you may have in study from Minister of Labor or revenue, for example, have they complied with the Ministry of Police? So for public institutions, it is important that particular information. Also, this basis is something we survey. The survey can be based on the documents that it was people to later for a good of time of determination of needs, determination or some you call the needs. You look at the report and you may get to determine the piece from this record. Then you must look at of occupational accidents. Investigation of if you have obtained this near misses this article of organization, the investigation for occupation and all of the non maintain and use within a given city. And when it comes to issues, the we now focus on report and use of so how you sort of connection better the resource. So what are we on some specific areas? So areas area of human resource planning. I may, for example, to know when it comes to the supply, you have demand. What is the supply? What is the demand like? So this, then an organization can to use the information to determine the number of that population. Then there is the element of formulation of human resource police. You see, when organizations use this, they also be able to design,
you go to settings, then go to
development.
And from here, you're going to select the service.
Programs
Now
that
we go to
will be used. Also the issue of
to write the server name that you have. And then you're going to paste the stream key that I also gave you. But those are very confidential, so don't share them with anyone else.
This will field for the perspective you can give us, then you can use records that we have in organization. This is your Italian environment of levels, age, and levels. So, dear learner, the many use of human resource records, organizations that the records. So, through again, we have done in our lesson today. And our lesson today, records where we look at the process of to be that involves use the storage and retrieval of records human resource activities. We have yet this is legal compliance and efficient of we find it that can be through the platform or through an organization may have both of them. Then we have looked at this. We have looked at the types of records. We have looked at the human records, and we also looked at the uses of human records. And in terms of human records, we have records that may be mainly records where we get name an employee by identity of employee, the kind of an employee depending on requirements of given organization. Then we have records and plans of that employee, layers of employment, layers of acceptance, they all have what we are calling wage and salary records. We've indicated that when it comes to wages and records, we have something called payment advice or called a PA. And what PA is that if the authority is prepared and then it's authorized to give the authority to pay that particular PA from given time up till a level of payment, the area and progression. You know what you call the training records. The training records, the training the employee has gone through either job or of the job. Then number 5, we have about the records, and these records in capture the annual and basic title. If an employee in a calendar year has 10 days, as you can do that when you participate, see at any one time employee has 20 days. So we come to efficient decision making, and the remaining days for decisions can be arrived at. Then options. And organization respected law, as we have indicated, Congo, open on 50% to maintain record of workplaces and even near misses. So organization may also maintain open accident records. And that's when we have talked about promotion records, integration employees in terms of their. Number 8, we have talked about statutory compliance. We may capture a given organization, taxation benefit that has an next. So that organization will law in relation to the cost that is supposed to maintain. Then when it comes to attendance records, organizations may have manual or basic method we have talked about benefits records, and they would provide service or housing or rewards that will be under what you call benefits to employees, the case might be. So why the purpose of resource records? The purpose of the drive organization. Resource records are made by crucial information about this. An employee about negative. So that Then do provisions for substance, proper explain in emphasis. There's a story obligation of issues with labor capability. Then number 4, the basic research. Organizations want to contract to further. Example, what is welcome learn about research in the manifestations learning platform, and they are continuing with our topic. And now let's look at teams. And when it comes to the government, our CASA, is the push, suggestion, they want to give focused to the team. So when it comes to team rewards refer to any incentives that are related to a work team, so the cross into the work team, or at least member, or at least individual members, the sum of the team. So the way, yes, rewards is focusing with a team. So team rewards lands for benefits that are provided to a work team, or at least one of individual members. So we going to look at a category of team rewards. We have got a of team rewards and this members. Now, theories of team rewards. So, to be categories, and 7 categories of team reward. What is team sharing or profit sharing? Team sharing, profit sharing. The second one is team goal-based rewards. The third category is team discretion rewards. Fourth is team skill rewards. Then fifth is team member rewards. Sixth, team member goal-based rewards. And seventh, team management. When it comes to the first one, here this focuses on organizational outcomes. Organizational outcomes. So, behold, you are market part, and we find a market share of, let's say, maybe 8%, or with the share 5%, and so we want to have 8% of that share. So then, if the team is achieved by that particular team department based on all organizational performance, and what's now provided by when it comes to team goal-based rewards. So in team-based goal is set, and that goal is focused on the say brand value. So that production is informed. If you tap in your team spirit and your producer again of item, then on the stage they want to based on in terms of then team this given based on an aspect that satisfaction. So go somewhere you find there, put some balls there, pick up here, you put here. Then based on that, particular team is ready. If that team is found to be maybe successful based on customer satisfaction feedback, then that particular team is awarded. So that if you go to some organizations, you see they have some kind of a trophy for this particular month, the team that is